Okay, so to render this image here, I'll walk you through the steps. And what we're doing here, this is called topo, and we all know topo is primarily the terrain of a landmass, and then bathymetry is the terrain under the water. Okay, so it's as if somebody just drained all the water out of the ocean in this case, and you are seeing what the land would look like without the water on top of it. All right, so one of the things I want to reiterate about working with uh, any project in OneDrive is it's always a good idea to go to your project first, okay? And make sure under status that you have all green lights, okay? If you have that little cloud symbol, come back to your root folder, right click, and choose always keep on this device. And then you need to wait until you have all green lights to open your project. Okay, and then you can just open your project right here by double clicking on the .aprx file. Okay, one thing I want to point out is I've reorganized my project based on the three consecutively smaller AOIs that we are going to be looking at. Okay, so I didn't have a watershed that I could use for Panama, so I'm simply going to do the full country. And then my second AOI is going to be the full canal. Okay, and then my third AOI, which is what I'm going, where I'm, the AOI I'm going to use to build my model is this third map here. Okay, and then I have corresponding layouts for each one of those. And I have in parentheses the size of the page. Remember, this is like paper space in CAD, okay? So the full country is horizontally shaped, so I did 24 by 18. Now, if you want to do renderings, you need to stick to 24 by 18, 18 by 24, or 24 by 24, okay? And then everybody has to stick to 12 by 18 or 18 by 12 for their model, okay? So I am going to simply open up my full country AOI map, okay? And the first thing I am going to do is turn on this Topobathy map, okay? Now, to access this map, go to the portal, all right? Go to groups and double click on our group, and then you will see it's right in here, and you could just right click and go add to map, okay? Now, this is a image service layer, okay? So we can apply the dynamic range, but don't do that yet. Come back to project, okay? And open up your layout for this country, or for your first AOI, okay? And it's gonna take a bit for this to load. Okay, now, this indicates the highest elevation in this map. I'm sorry. Now you can turn on DRA, okay? And just remember that that dynamic range stretch or condenses the global stretch of this grayscale, because this 8,700 meters, that's the top of Mount Everest, and negative 11,000 meters is the bottom of the Marinara Trench, somewhere in the deep dark ocean. Okay, but we don't want the data to be spread out across the world, and that's what this guy does here. So click on that, and all of those gray shades will be condensed into this layout here. Okay, so this looks really good here. All right, and then just come up to share. Okay, and then you're going to export this layout. Now make sure you know where it's going. All right, if you have more than one project, it's a good idea to come up here and then double click on your folders. Okay, and I actually added a new folder. I numbered it 11, so it would be at the bottom here. Okay, and I called it rendering. And I'm going to do a few renders with you. So this one I called Topobathy render. Okay, and then I named this one. It should be called Topobathy. Okay, and call this height. Okay, and then you would just hit OK, and then hit export. Now it may take 5 to 10 minutes, so don't think that something's wrong. This is entirely based on your internet speed, and I've experimented with this export process a lot, and this I have found yields the best results in the least amount of time. Okay, so it's really a TIFF file, and it is just being put in a PDF envelope, and that for some reason is just the way this software likes to do it. Okay, so keep in mind, if you're in a place where people are streaming lots of movies and just hogging the bandwidth, the export will take a lot longer. So just something to keep in mind. All right, I'm going to hit export, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, so that didn't take too long for me at all. So I am going to turn off my Topobathy, and I picked this world ocean base. Okay, this is nice because we're going to want to put color over this map when we render it, and I'm not sure why it's smudged right there. There we go. All right, and then I added the vibrant base map. Now both of those again are available in our group, so you would do the same thing. You would go to the catalog and the portal, and you would go to our group. All right. And then what I did, because the vibrant was just too bright for me, was I selected that layer and I went up to tile layer and I added a screen blend mode. All right. So we don't even have to bring this stuff into Photoshop. All right. And you could play with different blend modes. That one actually looks looks pretty cool. So I am gonna use this one this time. All right, and maybe just dial that back. I don't really like to use transparency, and this slider is terrible. I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, then the same export process, come up to share. Okay, and we will export the layout. All right, and now you'll call this one let's call this one Topobathy material vibrant, because vibrant is really running the show here. All right, so I'm going to export that one, and that's all you need to do in GIS. So I will close this out and then take you into the next step once this is finished exporting. Okay, so that didn't take too long at all. I'm just going to do a Control S. Sometimes it doesn't work when I'm recording, so I'm just going to save my project and then I will close out of it. Okay, now you can bring these into Photoshop if you'd like, or you could do this. We have to turn them into PNGs because the Substance software won't accept a PDF. Okay, so I'm going to sort these by date modified, and it would be this one. and I already have my Topobathy, but let me show you how you can do this if you have a group, okay? So you can select multiple PDFs, all right, and show more options, and don't choose edit, choose combined files and Acrobat, okay? And it'll sort these alphabetically, and go to options. This is important, okay? Make sure you choose the largest file size, okay? Otherwise, all that work we did to export these is not going to be taken into account. All right, then hit combined. Okay, great. So all of these guys are here. All right, I've got 3 different base materials, and I have what we're going to use as our height map, okay? So the way you can export each one of these pages as an image is come up here to export a PDF, image format, okay? And you definitely want to use ping. Ping is non-compressed, all right? And go to your settings and make sure that your resolution is at 300 an inch, because that's the way we exported this from ArcGIS Pro. Okay, and then you just do convert to ping. Now you may be wondering about this export all images. Don't select that if you have an image, a full image on each page, because it will create 3 separate PNGs for each one of these pages. What this is for is if you have multiple images on a page, it'll export each one of those smaller images as a separate file, which we obviously don't want to do here. So convert to PNG and then choose your folder. Okay, and unfortunately, this is something about Acrobat. I wish they could name the darn pages the way they were named when we brought them in, but you have to write some kind of special code for that. All right, so I'm just going to remember, I'm going to add number 1 and number 3. So I'm just going to hit save here. Okay, great. So I'm going to close out of Acrobat. I am not going to save this binder. I do not need it anymore. All right, did I say yes? I want no. Okay, there we go. All right, now what I am going to do is come here to rendering, and here's my 3 guys. So I'm going to just do this as Topobathy. Sorry. Jeez. Render vibrant. Okay. And I know I just want this guy and this guy. All right. Okay. And then this folder is zipped up on Blackboard, so you can download this. Now I'm using 24 by 18, that's your landscape. 18 by 24 is your portrait, okay? So I'm gonna grab this render. I'm gonna do a Control-C to copy it. And I'm gonna open up my vibrant render, paste that in there. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna call this Topobathy render vibrant. Okay, and then I will just double click that and it will fire up the software and open the template. So I'll save, this is the one I did for practice. All right, so this is what you're greeted with, all right? Remember, you are in camera view. Why don't we switch over to viewport view? This camera view I've set up for us, all right? And it's the right zoom and it's the right resolution for our rendering. So I would just leave that camera alone. Now we may do some other like 3D renderings, and if you want to do that with this map. I'll show you how to do that in a second, where you can actually be more at ground level. Okay, so let's go to viewport camera, and if you hold down the right mouse button, you can navigate. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that that's off. Make sure your ray tracing is off. All right. And now we're going to click on our model. I know it doesn't look like much of a model, but I developed these in 3ds Max, and the reason we're able to extrude with that height map is because this is made up of a few million tiny polygons, okay? And you can't do that in this software, all right? So what we're gonna do is come to material, all right? And come on down to our base color, all right? We're gonna go to image, select a file, all right? And I'm gonna go to my render vibrant. Here we go. Your material will always be your colored image, okay? And then we come on down to height, okay? I'm gonna leave all of this alone, and we're gonna select that file. And it always does this, and it's kind of annoying, but you have to come down here. You won't see anything, all right, no matter what, because I've never been able to make these files. So you have to come down here, and then we know we wanted that one. All right, so let's click on that. That looks good. So we're gonna close out of that. Now, nothing has happened because we need to come over here to object, okay? And we need to turn on displacement, okay? And this is a heavy duty operation. So you need a powerful computer. This won't work on most laptops. I mean, mine just starts crying. All right, now that is pretty awesome. I mean, you are looking at the bottom of the ocean right there. That is badass. I'm sorry. All right, I've never done this before, but that is incredible. And this is what actually I was saying, maybe we could do some renderings like this, and we definitely need to, okay? Because I need to locate where my canal is. It's right there. All right, and then I could show people, hold on, I could show people, now I'm using my left mouse button to pan, okay, and so there it is. There's the canal, and there's that Culebra cut, all right, but really it seems like it's a lot more dramatic like this. Now, this would be perfect if you have a site close to the ocean, okay? Now, for everybody, if you're on a continent, it's not going to be as dramatic as this because the continental shelf extends far beyond the US. However, if you're in New Zealand or Hawaii or any other island, Jakarta, I think people are doing projects in all of those locations. You could do a rendering like this, okay? And then the background won't appear. And so this could look really nice on your poster. All right, now let's get our lighting and our camera set up just to do a simple overhead view. Okay, so we're gonna come here to camera. All right, and let's do, how do you do that again? Alt Q, Alt F, or just Alt F. Okay, I'm just gonna move this in the center by holding down my left mouse button. Yeah, it wasn't hard at all. You don't need keyboard shortcuts all the time. And that looks fine. Okay, now we're gonna activate something called ray tracing. Okay, and this, oh, we should have done that in the other one. But anyway, this gives you a simulated view of what it's going to look like when it is fully rendered, okay? And now the important thing here is, let's come to environment. We really don't need to do anything here, but what we need to do is come over here and click on this sun, okay? And this is going to give you your physical lights, all right? So this is the terrace near the granaries I found is a nice one, all right? Wow, that actually works really, really well. I might brighten it up a bit, take that up to maybe like a 112 because this is Panama, okay? And let's get the rotation so that we can see the shadows coming off. I think it's usually good around 145. Okay. Yeah, that looks, wow, that looks really nice. Okay, that's really it. Now, before any time in any 3D program, it's always a good idea before you render to save, okay? Because rendering is an intensive process and sometimes it can crash. All right, so come over here to render, all right? And make sure you're on high, all right? And then this is all good. It is going to put this PNG in the exact same folder that our stager file is in, okay? And then all you have to do is hit render, and you're probably going to have to wait about 10 or 15 minutes, all right? And then you will have a PNG all ready to bring into your project.